feel bulletproof right now. Just
Percy Harvin is gone!
They got a seal here, a seal there, a huge alley at my seal of approval.
You say laser, I say dime, time, dime.
feel like a work of art.
Welcome to NFL Primetime, delivered by Papa John's.
Hi, everybody, and welcome into another edition of NFL Primetime. As always, glad you are here with us. Trey Wingo alongside Merrill Hodge and Trent Dilfer. Guys, we got lots to talk about as we get through what happened in Week 6, and it wraps up tonight, Monday Night Football. Huge AFC South showdown as the Tennessee Titans come into Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Jaguars very good at home on Monday night, 6-2, but the Tennessee Titans are bringing not only Chris Johnson, but a very impressive defense for the team report on Tennessee. Let us say hello to Susie Colbert.
Hello, Trey. And clearly, the Titans defense is focusing on the Jaguars' best player, Maurice Jones-Drew, who in their last meeting broke for runs of 79 and 80 yards. When I asked strong safety Chris Hope about that last night, he said, well, he can hope and pray that it doesn't happen again, but there are two keys. And number one is the gang tackle, because the first guy rarely brings him down. And secondly, it's that the Titans offense has to get out to a lead to limit his number of carries. And he describes him as this special combination of being small in stature, but with incredible power and quickness. And it's that low center of gravity that makes him so tough to bring down. And you can't see him in the backfield. You don't know if he has the ball or if he's down. And then all of a sudden, he's right up on there on you. Trey, he calls him the most gifted short guy in the NFL.
Well, whatever he's doing, it's working. There's no question about that. And you look at Chris Johnson. Look, he had bold claims before the season began. 2,000, sure. I'll get 2,500. I'll set the all-time record, shattering what Eric Dickerson did. He's not on that pace, but he's still on a pretty good pace.
If I had that skill set, I'd do the same thing. The guy is so electrifying. You know, one thing, if you look at the last matchup when they played actually in Jacksonville, the one thing that they do a good job with Chris Johnson, because he is a home run hitter, is they spread the field. They really put the burden on the defense. Not only to respect Chris Johnson, but Vince Young's ability to run the football. Now, why you would sit in a cover two, that's a dangerous situation. Even though it's third down, you got to get a safety in the box. The Titans understand that. That's why they bring the wide receiver into the formation. That wide receiver will block the best tackler. Let the other guy, who's not a very good tackler, better at covering, try to tackle Chris Johnson. That's not going to happen. And Chris Johnson plays behind his pads as good as anybody in football. Is he overpowering? Is he violent like Adrian Peterson? No, but he plays behind his pads as good as anybody. He sheds a lot of tacklers, and he's an explosive runner. One thing that he has done this year that has hurt him a little bit is he has looked for the big run all the time, and that's hurt him.
Well,
he's lost yards, and he's left
so many home runs.
Yeah, but he's left a lot of good chunks of yards on the field the first part of the year. But last week, I saw him getting north and south, getting 4 or 5 yards. When you do that as a runner, you eventually get that 50 or 60 or big yard or big run that he's looking for, and he's been getting.
One thing we've known for sure out of Chris Johnson, he's pretty good on the road. He's not just a homer. 7 straight road games, at least 100 yards. That's the second longest streak in NFL history, behind only Barry Sanders. However, the last time he went on the road and didn't get 100 yards, it was in Jacksonville against the Jaguars. And for more on the Jacksonville Jaguars and the home team, we say hello to Michelle Tafoya.
Hey, Trey. Well, the Jags certainly know, as you mentioned, Vince Young a threat, and they are going to attack him. But it's the guy you've been talking about, Chris Johnson, that defensive end Aaron Campman says they've got to stop if you want to stop Tennessee. Now, Campman says he's been noticing Johnson look for the edge more this season, trying to go to the outside, not running downhill as much as they've seen him in the past. And as we all know, when he gets to the outside, he is as good as gone. So Campman promises the Jaguars D is going to, quote, do a great job setting the edge. But Trey, he also said they have got to be totally fundamentally sound tonight. They have got to be disciplined on every single snap.
Well, we'll see if that is the case, Michelle. Thank you. And the discipline a lot of times can be directly attributed to how the quarterback calls a game and manages the game, and that falls on David Garrard.
Absolutely. And you think about the Jacksonville Jaguars, guys, not a lot of people see them play, right? They don't get a lot of people in their stadium. They don't get a lot of people watching them on TV. And we live in a time right now where the football fan is educated by highlight shows. And when the Jags win, what do we show? Maurice Jones-Drew. And when they lose, we show David Garrard. And the perceptions that David Garrard's a bad football player. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm watching the all 22 of the coaches tape, and I'm getting to see all the different things totally objectively. What I see is a guy that possesses great timing, rhythm, and accuracy. Look at this throw. That ball is out of his hand. Safety's inside. Receiver not looking. He throws the ball to a spot, throws his receiver open, gets the big touchdown play. He's got an absolute cannon, too. Here's a third down play where he's climbing up in the pocket. He has great pocket awareness. He stands up, flips his hips out to the right, and just throws a strike on the boundary, beating the defender with ball speed and location. Let's not forget, David Garrard's a fantastic athlete, strong runner. You can design plays around his running ability. This is an absolute weapon you'll love to have. David Garrard is a complete football player. He is one of the better quarterbacks in this league, but nobody knows about it because the perception when it goes bad for the Jags is that it's David Garrard's fault, and that's not what I'm seeing.
Listen, keep in mind, it was just a couple of years ago that David Garrard led the Jaguars into Pittsburgh twice within one season, beat them both times, once in the regular season and once in the playoff game, and it was his legs on a brilliant quarterback draw late in that contest that indeed sealed that win for Jacksonville. And by the way, we got a lot more, like 55 minutes worth of educational material when we continue here on Primetime. Big Ben back in the saddle in Pittsburgh. How did his season start against the Cleveland Browns? Well, the Ravens and the Pats, they met in the wild card round of the playoffs last year. A different ending for the home team in the regular season. And I think the Cowboys have just been penalized again for what we're not sure, but we'll break it down.
NFL Primetime.
The flyover could be the most exciting 5 seconds in football.
Okay. Little flyover. Looking good. 5 seconds now.
Oh, here they go. I love that. I love that. That's a flyover right there now. He's at the 20, breaks the tackle. Touchdown, Ricky Williams. Get pressure, goes down again. Another huge pass rush by the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins have the interception. Vontae Davis, welcome to the National Football League. Heading under center. Fires deep downfield. Touchdown, Dolphins! Chad Henne put that right on the money. Lonnie Brown will take a direct snap. Breaks one tackle, moves to the right. He's going to get into the end zone. Touchdown, Dolphins. Goes up the middle. Touchdown, Dolphins. All right, Miami.
Hello, nation.
Anyone?
Super. The nation says.
Are we on the air?
You got to be kidding me.
Sports Nation, only on ESPN America.
To NFL Primetime, delivered by Papa John's.
Welcome back to Primetime. As always, glad you're here with us. Trey Wingo alongside the happy-go-lucky Merrill Hodge and the always chuckling Trent Dilfer. Well, after a 4-game suspension and a bye week, Ben Roethlisberger finally saw his season begin as he was home and the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cleveland Browns. Listen, they were dead last in passing offense without him, but that changed quickly. A mostly warm reception. First drive of the game for the Steelers offense, 3rd and 4, and a little rush there, throws it behind the intended receiver, and Joe Hayden comes up with a pick, returns it all the way down to the 35-yard line, would lead to a Browns field goal, so they actually trailed. That didn't last long. Next Steelers possession. That's the Ben we know. Mike Wallace, 29-yard touchdown. His first strike of the season. Steelers back on top 7-3. Later second quarter, it's still 7-3. It's 3rd and 10. And again, perhaps some rust here, Trent.
Yeah, a little rust. You know, at times when you come back, you haven't played in a while, your eyes don't see things quite clearly. I thought overall, though, Ben looked very sharp.
Well, here's what he did well. He hung in there and made the throws when he had to. Pinned deep inside his own 5. You saw him take a hit, and he throws a strike to Mike Wallace for 50 yards.
This is unbelievable. His strength, his ability to manipulate the pocket and still get ball speed on the football, taking a shot. He's one of a kind there.
Well, he's bigger than most of the guys trying to tackle him. Here on 3rd and 8, Hines Ward will not be denied. 3rd and goal from the 8. Just like that, it is 14-3. Again, to be expected. Some accurate throws, some bad throws. Mike Wallace again open. That one sails way out of bounds, but under 2 minutes left in the 4th. Roethlisberger to the tight end, Heath Miller. That one was perfect.
Money. You know what? The few throws that we've seen him miss, in a few weeks he will start to make, and that will make that team only even more dangerous.
16-27, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns on the pick. The other story in this game, James Harrison absolutely destroying people like Josh Cribbs there. Hit hard. It's hard to say there was any intent there. I mean, the guy was moving. They collided heads. Cribbs.
I'd like to see his arms come and not
a fair
launch.
point. That's a fair point.
Bring his arms and launch. We got no
Speaking of launching, there's he and Muhammad.
We don't launch
right there.
We bring our hands. We play behind our shoulder pads. We can eliminate those type of collisions.
He was not flagged on either one of those plays.
And Harrison still stays fundamentally sound doing that.
Steelers go on to win 28-10. Obviously, the big story in this game, Ben Roethlisberger and how he played. You worked with Ben as an advisor during his suspension. What did you see on his return?
Well, yeah, I saw a guy that, you know what, had been off for a month. I saw a little bit of rust. Even when he went to hand the football off, you could tell just the footwork not being there. You know, that's why we always talk about rhythm and timing, how important it is to play. When you haven't played for a month, everybody's kind of seasoned, and they have that rhythm and timing. He was off just a little bit, but it also speaks to how amazing he truly is when he can make these kind of plays. Remember when the Steelers were backed up against the Ravens? They didn't dare throw it out of there because they didn't have Ben Roethlisberger. They tried to run it out of there. They had 9 guys in the box. They get a couple of yards. They never get the first down. Very similar situation. You got 3 tight ends. You got 1 back in the backfield. The Browns go on a cat blitz. The Steelers send 2 vertical players, Mike Wallace and Miller, the tight end, and Ben avoids the cat blitz because Rashard Mendenhall picks it up, but he takes a shot in the mouth, and because of his size and his strength and his ability to get that ball down the field. We saw it in the highlight. Trent just talked about it. You get a big play and you're on the 50. There's ultimately a microcosm of the difference the Steelers have when he is on the football field, the things that he does no other quarterback can.
There's a trust factor, obviously, with Ben. They can open up more of the playbook than
clearly that, yes.
Through those first 4 games. By the way, there could be a suspension or a fine coming for James Harrison for that hit, or either one of those hits, because the NFL has said they're looking into possible suspensions for helmet-to-helmet hits. All right, let's move on now from the Ben Roethlisberger story to this Pittsburgh story as a team, Trent. They were real good defensively without Ben. They committed to the run. They ran really well. Now they've got a little bit of balance here on offense with what you know Ben Roethlisberger can bring. With that in mind, how dangerous is this Steeler team right now?
Well, very dangerous. They're absolutely the most complete team in football with Ben Roethlisberger back. And the reason is because they're going to own more offense. Ownership of offense. How much can you run and run well? And with Ben Roethlisberger now, Trey mentioned your entire playbook is open, and it's a playbook they're all very familiar with, the biggest part of that being Ben. Now they can be so multi-dimensional offensively, so many different formations. And the other element Ben brings you, it just makes you better. Every time he stands on the football field, you don't have to be right, and he can still make a play. You can be wrong up front. You can be wrong in the backfield. You can be wrong on the receiver, and Ben can make it right, and that's a dangerous element.
How many times did the Cleveland Browns get guys free to finish and couldn't finish?
That's Ben's career. He will find a way to stay alive. That's one of the things people say, oh, you hold on to the ball too long, and that's why the Steelers have had so many sacks over the years. That's what he does. That's how he gets his big plays, and you saw a couple of those Sunday on his return. By the way, Colt McCoy actually played pretty well against
very poised,
defense,
very impressive.
In a rookie start, and one of only 2 to ever throw a touchdown pass. Kyle Bowler in 2003, the other against that Steelers defense. Meanwhile, speaking of defenses, the Ravens have a pretty good one. You know, they went up in the wild card round last year to New England and absolutely took it to Tom Brady and company. But Deion Branch is back after the Randy Moss trade, and they're cooking up for an 8-yard gain. That was his first catch as a return, and then he got sort of quiet. And Brandon Tate, how about the end around here? This is their deep threat that they're counting on with Randy Moss gone, and it sets up a gain of 22 there. The Pats would score on the very next play. Now here's one of these other helmet-to-helmet hits we're talking about here in the third quarter. Joe Flacco to Todd Heap, and you see Brandon Merriweather launch himself.
And one other word, it was deliberate. He deliberately did this. This is unnecessary at any level, but especially in the National Football League.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to the fourth quarter here. Heap actually would return to the game. They're down by 10. Brady buying time, and then look who is open in the end zone. It's Deion Branch. Guys, they haven't played together in years, but they still have the chemistry.
Great job by Deion Branch working the back of the end zone. Tom Brady knows where he's at. He wasn't primary, but he knows the longer this play goes, the more chance Deion Branch has of getting open.
Brady said, I've thrown thousands of passes to him over the years. Here's one to Rob Gronkowski. Another catch right there by Deion. A very nice play on the play fake here.
Nice play action. Look at the anticipation. See the open window? That's where Brady throws it, and then here comes Deion Branch into that window. That's trust, that's timing, that's anticipation.
Branch really lit it up in the fourth quarter and late. Only had 2 catches through the first 3 and then became a weapon of all weapons. Now, here's Rob Gronkowski, the rookie. And look at Terrell Suggs and Tom Brady. I don't think they're talking about the Bieber-esque hair at that point in the contest. Later, it's a quick throw to Deion Branch, and that led to a Pats 20-yard field goal to tie the game. We go into overtime. In overtime, time running down. They both had some possessions. Brady, little play action. Who else? Who else but Deion Branch? A 23-yard gain. Later on the drive, it's 3rd and 2, and let's go back to the Super Bowl MVP from a few years ago. Back shoulder throw. Branch had 7 catches in the fourth quarter in overtime, 9 total for the game. And in comes Stephen Gostkowski. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a winner. Brady loves it. Belichick hugs Branch. Welcome back, my friend. The Patriots win their first game without Randy Moss. Final 23-20. When we continue here on NFL Primetime, Rex Ryan and the Jets in Denver, always a difficult place to play, but apparently the thin air did wonders for LaDainian Tomlinson. And I guess you could understand if the Green Bay Packers never wanted to play another overtime game ever again.
The difference between NFL good and NFL great is want to, or the desire to do what's necessary to be great. Broncos receiver Eddie Royal wants to be great. Number 19 has already drawn comparisons to another strong receiver that can stretch a defense. Panthers All-Pro Steve Smith.
It is the Eddie Royal Show.
With Brandon Marshall's trade to Miami, look for Royal to get more touches in 2010.
Johnson has done it. He has gone over 2,000 yards, becoming the 6th player in NFL history to do it.
You know, a couple years ago, I faced the task of increasing our overall team speed, specifically on offense. So we did some homework, we shopped around, looked under a couple stones and behind a few buildings, and we found the right guy.
This is every coach's dream, Chris Johnson of the Tennessee Titans.
Get on it.
The fastest man in the National Football League, the fastest player to reach 2,000 yards plus, and you got some good stuff ahead of you, don't you?
Yeah, some good stuff.
What's ahead?
Yeah, I'm just getting started. I've only been in the league 2 years, so I feel like I got a lot of years
How many
left.
you got left in these?
Got a lot.
Somebody said if you lose this 2 steps, you still be faster than everybody.
It'll be faster.
How many times you want the ball a game?
25 would be good.
25 times a game, which is going to get us what yards-wise?
Hopefully another 2,000-yard season, help this team reach the playoffs, and hopefully get to the Super Bowl and win it.
Welcome back to Primetime. I'm Michelle Tafoya in Jacksonville with this team report. Through 5 games, the Jaguars boast the NFL's 4th best rushing offense, powered by Moreeeee Jones-Drew. Now, at 5'7", Jones-Drew is tough to see before the snap and after it. And Titans safety Chris Hope says they're going to have to gang tackle this guy because of his speed, power, and low center of gravity. Now, Titans head coach Jeff Fisher, who has a great back of his own in Chris Johnson, says we could see 500 yards rushing tonight. The last time these two teams met, the two backs combined for 405 yards on the ground. Now back to Primetime.
Primetime rolls on. Jets and Broncos. Denver always a very difficult place to play. Rex Ryan and company have been playing so well since that opening Monday night loss to the Ravens. Mark Sanchez has not been turning the ball over. Make that had not been turning the ball over. Looking for Jericho Cotchery. That's intercepted by Jason Hunter. Late second quarter, he had no turnovers. Mark Sanchez looking for Dustin Keller. That's intercepted by Sidquan Thompson. He had 2 picks in the first half. Then there was Darrelle Revis. Again, still not completely healthy with the hamstring. And it was as if Josh McDaniel and the Broncos said, we're going after him and testing that hamstring.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Why wouldn't you?
Not just as if. It was a conscious effort to attack.
Bullseye was right there on 24.
Yep.
Listen, that's the way it is in the NFL.
So it is.
Until you play, you're going to keep going there, and that's Demaryius Thomas beating Revis for the touchdown.
I'm sure they like their height advantage, too, with the wide receivers. As good as Revis is, he's not as tall as these other guys, and you take advantage of that. Quarterback's got to keep the ball at the highest point for his receivers.
Big physical receiver there, got position, too. Fourth quarter at 17-10, and goodbye.
Could he be the MVP?
Well, listen, through 6 weeks,
you know what's coming? We have a seal of approval, and we have a dig out, and we have an alley for Neion Tomlinson. I guess the front runner for MVP of the National Football League, right?
That's what Rob G says.
All right, go ahead.
Comeback player. Rob G, by the way, is the silent producer who no one knows, so thanks for bringing him up. And that tied it at 17. Then Sanchez to Santonio Holmes, and well, that's a flag. It's got to be a flag. Rex is fired up. They're down by 3 at that point on a 4th and 6. You know, look, you say what you want. He's got his hands in the face mask.
Yep, face mask, grabs his receiver, makes it tough for the receiver to come back to the ball, they always call it.
But the question is, should that have been a spot foul, which they gave him pass interference, or just a face mask for 15 yards? They got the spot foul. And then Santonio Holmes, or excuse me, LaDainian Tomlinson runs it in for the touchdown. And then what was that snap on the smile? Jets go on to win. 2 touchdowns for LT, 24-20. Dolphins, Packers. Aaron Rodgers, all week long, there were concerns about whether or not he would actually come back and play after being concussed in the overtime loss to Washington. Oh, he came back, and he played. And let us just dial up an 86-yard touchdown strike to Greg Jennings. Remember Greg Jennings about not getting enough passes thrown his way?
But you notice how the Packers have to design big plays, move the launch point, scheme it to create plays. They can't do it just traditionally from the pocket.
Rodgers' longest touchdown pass of his career, 86 yards, put him up 10-7. Fourth quarter is a great design here. Henny rolls right, throws to Anthony Fasano, and nothing in front of him. Oh, and a fake Lambeau leap. Really? How did that happen, Merrill?
Well, a great job and design of selling it by Henny first. Henny, looks how he turns his shoulder. He makes it look like he's going to do a little waggle boot X, and that gets everybody to flow. Another thing that helped him, they blitzed it on the backside. So that helped flow, and now you got it set up perfectly for your one-man screen. All I've got to do is get one guy blocked, and Fasano's going to be in for the Lambeau fake leap.
The Lambeau not leap.
The not leap. I
like that. I don't know. The Lambeau gravity challenge. Dolphins do go up 20-13. Later fourth, same score. Well, they're trying to put this thing and get it to overtime for the second. John Kuhn stopped. Green Bay calls timeout. Next play, 23 seconds to go. Third and goal for the 1. Kuhn stopped. Packers call timeout. So now it's a 4th and goal situation. They got no more timeouts. They spread him out. What does Aaron Rodgers do? He walks up to the line and just takes it right in to tie it.
Let me coach you up. It's empty formation shotgun. He's seeing the defenders move around a little bit, get their combination coverage. Goes up, little cowboy. He says that to the center, which means snap it now. I'm underneath you. I'm into the end zone. Quarterback sneak.
12th rushing touchdown since 08, most among NFL quarterbacks. He's doubled the next closest guy. And then overtime, Green Bay facing 3rd and 6. This is why they have to scheme those things. They still have protection issues.
They don't block well.
One of his 3 sacks. Packers forced to punt. And then Devon Bess. This is why they gave him a contract extension. He makes big plays. 8-yard gain, first down Miami. 2 plays later, yes, Ricky Williams is still running the football, and it's an 8-yard score. It looks like he saw both of those stripes on the field. 62nd Dolphin ever to rush for 6,000 behind Larry Zonka. And then Dan Carpenter, for the second straight week, the Packers lose in overtime. Final at Lambeau, 23-20. When primetime rolls on, Kevin Cobb says, this Michael Vick fellow that everybody's talking about, I know not of what you speak. I'm doing just fine. As for Randy Moss and the Vikings, they're feeling a lot better. The Cowboys, no.
Agile, mobile, hostile. A fitting description for a man whose first name means House of Spears. And Ndamukong Suh is a game changer. Number 90 finished his senior year at Nebraska with 85 tackles, 24 for loss, and 12 sacks. The Detroit Lions rookie is the first defensive player to win the AP National Player of the Year award. In 2010, the Lions looked for Superman to be a key fixture in their defensive front.
From the top, 1, 2, where 2, 3, where 5, 6, where 6, 7, 8, where 9, 10, where let's go!
Got me, Drew? All right, here we go. Put a drive together here. Nice tempo.
The crew to Drew offense rolling on all cylinders today.
1, 2, 3, 6, 0. Let's go now. Stop that. Let's go. Do that. We that.
Welcome to the NFC Championship game.
This is what we came here for. It's what we worked all year for.
Let's go to the Super Bowl, boys, right here.
Snap, placement, kicked by Hartley. And it's good! It's good! The Saints are on their way to the Super Bowl.
We're in the Super Bowl right now.
We got to recover the onside kick, boys.
So the Saints will kick it away, beginning the second half.
Here's the kickoff, and it's an onside kick, and the Colts had it, lost it, and the Saints, I think, have it. Right ball. Right ball.
Manning in the shotgun puts Collie in motion, looks in his direction. It's picked off! It's picked off! It's Tracy Porter again! He's running free! He's going to go all the way! Hands outstretched! It is a Saint touchdown! He did it to Favre, and now he's done it to Manning! Get ready to party with the Lombardi! The miracle in Miami has happened! The Saints have won the Super Bowl!
Point is brought to you by Fidelity Investments. Turn here.
Primetime rolls on. Desperation Bowl in Minnesota. 1-3 Dallas, 1-3 Vikings. Brett Favre knows something's got to turn, and so does Tony Romo. And, well, the Cowboys, they got off to a pretty good start here. First quarter, there's no score. Roy Williams continues to have his career revitalized. That's a touchdown. Cowboys up 7-0. And then Miles Austin. That's great athletic ability.
Why not? Because we don't celebrate.
Yeah, the only problem is it's an excessive celebration.
They do celebrate, they don't win.
Yeah, true. 15 yards. Second straight week.
Correct.
Wade Phillips is like, you've got to be kidding.
I wasn't in the meeting.
Yeah. You weren't in the meeting where you need to be quiet every once in a while so we can tell people what's happening. Romo pressured by Jared Allen, and it's deflected off the helmet of Ray Edwards. How did this happen?
Doug Free doesn't hear the snap count. That's the effect of crowd noise in Minnesota. Now Tony Romo has to get rid of the ball quick, avoid the sack, hits the helmet, gets intercepted.
It's like, what? What happened?
You weren't in the meeting either, obviously.
Well, neither was Miles Austin, because this looks wonderful. It's a 68-yard touchdown, and it's great, except for the fact that one of the reasons he was so wide open was because there was offensive pass interference. Right call.
The right call, and I will tell you this, you seldom see this called, but it was the right call.
He's got to learn to do the little elbow, not the hand.
As soon as you get your hand out, it's just like a jersey. As jersey leaves the body.
As Wade Phillips, she said, you got to be kidding me. Okay, so it was 14-7 until they kicked off. By rule, they do have to kick off to start the second half, Trent.
Is this a great rule?
Yeah, Percy Harvin thought it was an excellent rule. 95-yard touchdown return, and just like that, it's tied at 14. Later in the third, 2nd and 10, Minnesota. Suddenly, they get Percy Merrill into all kinds of situations where he can rip off some yardage for him.
They use him in a lot of different situations. When he is in the backfield, he does remind me a little bit of Adrian Peterson. Just not as a violent of a runner, but boy, he's as quick as and fast.
A gain of 7 there, down to the Dallas 3. Did you mention Adrian Peterson?
I did.
I could have sworn I heard you mention Adrian Peterson.
Cashier will make you pay.
Of the Minnesota Petersons. Although he was pretty much held in check. 24 carries, 73 yards. That put the Vikings up 21-14. Fourth quarter. Listen, Dez Bryant is going to be a great player. And here's one of those reasons why. 31-yard touchdown. That tied it at 21. And then Miles, oh, let's be cute. I'll just shake your hand this time. You could have also called that as an excessive celebration. Dez Bryant now going back to field the punt. He's already returned one of these to the house. He's got another one going, running over people. They're almost at the Minnesota 40. Notice there's a flag on the play. That's a pretty obvious hold there, isn't it, Trent?
That's a horrible play. He's got help, too, right there with the gunner. Doesn't need to do that. That's an undisciplined mind.
11 penalties. 11. And then Romo right here intending on a 3rd and 1 for Jason Witten. It's picked off again by E.J. Henderson, his 2nd of the game. They had been 5 for 5 in situations handing it off to Marion Barber.
Looks like Romo just throws it right to him, but E.J. Henderson, great job of coming in the line of scrimmage, instinctively realizing he has no responsibility there, getting back into the throwing lane. What a great play by E.J. Henderson.
And that was a terrific play. Romo had 3 touchdown passes, but he also had the 2 picks. Vikings next possession, it is 3rd and 6. And that's an incomplete pass, but Mike Jenkins says, what? It's a clear pass interference.
Anytime the officials are looking for a defender to have his hand on a back and grabbing jerseys, easy to see, easy to call.
And the Cowboys go down in flames, 24-21. Listen, the Cowboys entered Sunday's game outgaining their opponents by 117 yards per game. On Sunday, they outgained the Vikings by 126. The Cowboys have averaged more than 2 times as many penalties as their opponents. On Sunday, more of the same. No team is averaging more penalty yards per game than the boys, and only the Lions have averaged more penalties per game. The fidelity turning point here is you just let the game play out, Trent. You don't have to worry about beating the Dallas Cowboys in 2010. The stats will show you eventually they'll beat.
And what do we always talk about? They're the most talented team in the National Football League, right? Well, I would argue that talent has 2 faces, 2 components to it. There's the physical attributes that everybody looks at with the Dallas Cowboys, and it's mind-boggling. They have big, strong, fast guys who can run around, jump, catch, tackle. But there's another component to talent, and that's a disciplined mind. And any professional athlete that's going to be successful in a team environment disciplines their mind, allows their body to do the best stuff. Then you don't make the costly mistakes. Costly mistakes come because the second part of talent isn't there, a strong mind.
Well, they're not having that right now. And by the way, Jerry Jones has said Wade Phillips' job is safe throughout the season. So the Cowboys have a bunch of issues. So do the Vikings, but they found a way to rectify them for one Sunday. And the bottom line is, Merrill, they took advantage of the opportunities that the Dallas Cowboys gave them, and they cashed them in.
You know, clearly, it's the little things, you know, Trent just talked about why the Cowboys are losing, is why the Vikings won. There are so many things that you have to have in a football player, and it's just not how fast their 40 is or how much they bench. You know, are they instinctive? You know, do they stay in there? Do they hang in there? They keep fighting. I thought that, and especially E.J. Henderson, a linebacker the Vikings lost last year, getting him back has made such a difference. Here's one of the keys. Marion Barber, they banjo him. If he goes to the right, Lieber on that side will take him. Henderson now is a free defender. We've already seen this in the highlight. But once he realizes he can't get to the quarterback, he instinctively bails out as he reads Tony Romo's eyes, and he makes the interception. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about. When you look at the Minnesota Vikings, what they did, they're banjoing a running back. If Barber leaves, that frees up E.J. Henderson. Instead of just rushing and standing there, he instinctively realizes, I'm not going to get there, so let me bail out as I read Tony Romo's eyes. I mean, those are things that you can't coach. You can put them in those positions, but then they have to make plays and instinctively react, and Minnesota did that tonight.
They certainly did, and E.J. Henderson's a great story. I mean, you saw the vicious way his leg was broken last year late in the season. The fact that he's even out there so quickly is a testament to his will and his ability, and he's doing a great job. Oh, by the way, it doesn't get any easier for the Minnesota Vikings. They go back to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers, and the Cowboys, history is not with them. Since 1990, in the current playoff format, only 5 teams have started 1-4 and made the postseason. Cowboys now try to become the 6th. We move on here on Primetime. Battle of the Birds. Andy Reid and the Eagles hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Deshaun Jackson figured all over this game. First quarter, there is no score. Deshaun Jackson on the end around, and, well, they got 2 defenders. They're going to just take each other out of the play. And it's a 31-yard score. The Eagles go up 7-0. Next Eagles possession, Kevin Cobb to Jackson. That's a 34-yard touchdown. Since the merger, there have been 5 times when players have had a 30-plus yard rush and a 30-plus yard pass. Deshaun Jackson's done it twice. He's done it twice. Here's the scary moment for Deshaun and Dante Robinson. Both men collide here. Both men had to be helped off the field. Very unlikely that Deshaun Jackson will play next week when they go to Tennessee to take on the Titans. A scary moment for both players and something we saw a lot of Sunday around the league. As for Kevin Kolb, tell you what, Trent, he's making it very difficult to think about putting Michael Vick back.
He's doing a great job. People talk about him not getting the ball down the football field. He does. He just usually gets it down the middle of the football field as good as anybody.
There was Macklin, and there's Jason Avant. He's spreading it around because Deshaun Jackson is the home run threat. But oh, by the way, Macklin isn't a bad home run threat either. Look at him dial it up. That is a perfect throw. 83 yards on the score for the touchdown. Now listen, offensive linemen don't get to celebrate a lot, so we all hail the king. King Dunlap right here. Play's nowhere near over.
You know what this tells me? It tells me it worked in practice.
That's
too.
correct.
He knew what he was looking for to see if that was going to be a home run.
And in the huddle, they talked about it working.
3 touchdown passes, over 300 yards for Kolb. The defense was after Matty Ice all day. Here, he's sacked by Trent Cole. Fourth quarter, Packers down 14. Ryan, one more time. Oh, he's stripped by Cole, and this time Darryl Tapp recovers. 3 sacks by the swarming Eagles defense. And now we all know that Trent Dilfer has a passion for kickers. So let us now go through the day that David Akers had. Now, it was a frustrating day, right, Trent?
Frustrating for David Akers, frustrating for my fantasy team because his 3 misses cost me my win. But this will tell you everything you need to know about kickers. Pink shoe, miss. Pink shoe, miss, right? Pink shoe, miss. So it must be the pink shoe's fault. So
Money, gotta be the shoes.
This tells you everything you know about kicker. I'm gonna change my shoe, and now I'm gonna make it. Now you understand why it's so frustrating playing football with these people.
I think you would look lovely in those pink shoes. You actually have some pink golf spikes that I've seen you wear.
I do.
They're tremendous. When we continue here on NFL Primetime, boy, the Redskins had chances to get to Peyton early, and they didn't. And eventually, number 18 made him pay. And finally, perhaps 6 weeks in, the Saints are who we thought they were. At least they were for one Sunday in Tampa. Jay Cutler was back for Chicago. So was the offensive line. Issues continue.
Knock Holmes out.
Whoa. Is taking a pound.
People involved in this fight should have been arrested.
Oh, he's ready to go.
But he wouldn't go down because he's Ali.
This must be stopped. It is a sad way to end.
Que es el criminal más rico del mundo. Su fortuna conseguida toneladas de cocaína a Europa y Estados Unidos se estima en más de $3,000 millones.
Colombia received a death threat at the team's hotel in Fullerton, California.
Escobar accidentally scored a goal against his own team.
Sport can create hope where once there was only despair.
David, we didn't have 60,000 South Africans. We had 43 million South Africans.
Sport has the power to change the world.
ESPN Films presents a brilliant series of sports documentaries, 30 for 30, every month on ESPN Classic.
By the lickety-split Adrian Peterson. And he's sacked, and that one belongs to the calf roping specialist, Jared Allen. Touchdown! 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 Cold-blooded connection.
The Vikings defense is one of the NFL's most consistent. Minnesota has ranked #1 against the run 3 out of the last 4 seasons. Up front, defensive line is anchored by the Williams Wall and Jared Allen, who led the team with 14.5 sacks in 2009.
Jared Allen!
If the purple and gold continues its stout play defensively, then the team has a shot at reaching its first Super Bowl in more than 30 years.
Primetime. I'm Susie Culber in Jacksonville with this team report. Titans quarterback Vince Young insists whatever it takes. That's in response to averaging 19 pass attempts a game and not topping 175 passing yards a game. When it comes to Young, one stat stands out: that he wins. Since he took over as the starter in Week 11 last year, he's 11-4. And he adds, he doesn't care if he throws for 300 yards a game. If they don't get a W, what good would that be? He insists they find ways to win. Now back to Primetime.
Well, Tuesday night, ESPN Films 30 for 30 presents the fast life and tragic death of NASCAR driver Tim Richmond. Tim Richmond, To the Limit, Tuesday night, 8 Eastern on ESPN. Colts-Redskins Sunday night game in Landover, Maryland. Peyton Manning warming up, 2-1 in his career against the Redskins entering Sunday night. And after a Redskins turnover, first play. Oh, Pierre Garçon is healthy, and so is the arm of Peyton Manning. 57 yards. Pump fake usually frees things up, Trent.
Sudden strike offense. The pump fake freezes the safety, allows Pierre Garçon to get inside the corner with no safety help. And as usual, just a dime.
My fantasy team was the double recipient of points on that
Good
one.
for you.
Thank you. Manning to Pierre Garçon. This also helped my fantasy team. Pierre Garçon, are you kidding me, Merrill Hodge? Are you kidding me?
Now that's why you wear gloves, so they can stick to the ball. You can make amazing catches. Pierre Garçon was honest, like, listen, I just stuck in my glove.
Whatever works.
I made the catch.
It was 17-7 at the half. It could have been much more. Fourth quarter, Joseph Adai takes the handoff, and he is crunched and fumbles the ball. He actually had the longest run of his career in this game, 46 yards. Adai had to be helped off the field. He had 17 carries, $128. They actually ran the ball really well, over 170 rushing yards, but the Redskins down. McNabb to Anthony Armstrong. Peyton Manning can only watch on the sideline. So now it's 1st and 10 from the 19. Little draw play to Keelan Williams for the 14-yard run. Ryan Terrain ran like a beast in this game for the Washington Redskins. And then if Keelan Williams can get us 14, maybe he can get us a little more. And that touchdown made it 27-24. Vinatieri missed a couple of kicks. They were in this game much longer than they thought they had to be. And then Manning trying to make something going. Dallas Clark can't get it as LaRon Landry has been playing spectacular at safety this season. So now it's 3rd and 10, and Phillip Buchanan makes a perfect play on the throw to Reggie Wayne. So they're getting the ball back, a chance to not only tie, but perhaps win the game. McNabb, pump fake, 4th and no. So the Redskins would have one last shot here. They get the ball back one more time, and Aaron Francisco. Listen, he made the play. He was dangerously close to jumping too soon, wasn't he?
Very much.
Let's just put it this way. Glad you made it.
Because there was nothing behind you but a touchdown for Joey Galloway. You can still win 27-24 in favor of the Colts. Lions, Giants. Jim Schwartz. Lions 23-game road losing streak, one short of the record set by the Lions. Third quarter, Drew Stanton, Sean Hill, replacing Sean Hill. Nate Burleson, big third down conversion, but hold on, it's illegal procedure. Drew Stanton replaced Sean Hill because of a broken left forearm. Lions would turn the ball over on the next play. Now the Giants in the red zone, Manning looking for Akeem Nicks. But look at Cliff Avril. He loses his mind on sportsmanlike conduct. So instead of a field goal, that would lead to an Eli Manning touchdown pass. The Lions channeling their inner cowboy. 11 penalties, over 90 penalty yards.
Very nice.
Thank you. Fourth quarter, Lions down 21-17. Stanton to Burleson, who runs after the catch, but the ball comes out, and Deion Grant has it. The Giants somehow recover, and the Giants' running game took over. If it's not Ahmad Bradshaw, it's going to be Brandon Jacobs. This time, it's Ahmad Bradshaw.
Boy, he got a seal here and a seal there and was in the alley, and just love how Ahmad Bradshaw has sparked this running game, but how he finishes runs.
And this is what they want to see out of Brandon Jacobs.
North and
south.
Yes.
Giants ran for 188. They hang on to win 28-20. Saints in Tampa taking on the Bucs. They entered this game behind Tampa in their own division. They did not leave behind in their own division. The cone of integrity never lies, Trent.
Well, because what we're showing is how Drew Brees constantly manipulates defenses. He understood he had to get the ball down the football field, get the explosiveness back there. What the eyes do is it freezes the safety. Now he's stuck inside in cover two instead of being outside deep and wide, allowing Lance Moore to get down the rail with a big, long 40-yard-plus touchdown.
Those have been few and far between this year, but the cone of integrity, once again, never lies.
And that's exactly the thing here. They're playing pass-safe defenses, the Bucs are, but Drew Brees manipulating them, forcing the ball into tight little holes down the football field. You only can do this by being extremely accurate and changing ball speeds up. This is something Drew Brees obviously went into this game with a mind on doing, getting the ball down the football field.
That was Robert Meacham there. And then Chris Ivory from Tiffin. Of course, this is the running game that's been missing because they've been banged up. Reggie Bush isn't there. Pierre Thomas is banged up. Ivory ripping off big yards, 16-27, just lowering his pads.
There's nothing that makes offensive linemen love to block more than watching your back get on the other side of the line of scrimmage and break tackles.
158 yards on 15 carries. Saints win big, 31-6. As for the Seahawks and the Bears, Matthew Hasselbeck and company trying to find a rare road win. Hasselbeck, is that a primetime dime, Trent?
This is the primetime dime for Matthew Hasselbeck because I love the fact that he gives a little pump fake down the middle, right? And then he reloads. Look how quickly he reloads the ball. Forces safety inside, the pump fake does, and then look at this accuracy down the rail again into the end zone. That's a big-time throw by Hasselbeck.
And congratulations to Deion Butler. That tied it at 7. Third quarter, Seahawks up 16-13. Hasselbeck, boy, talk about a guy who's had a resurgent career. Mike Williams, unbelievable, 21 yards there. Next play, listen, if you're going to keep making catches, I'm going to throw it to you. Williams, 10 catches, 123 yards, both career highs, set up a Marshawn Lynch touchdown. This was a guy that ate his way out of the league. He's back and productive. All right, as for the defense, well, no chance there.
Yeah, well, there are some serious issues in Chicago, whether it's your offensive line, your quarterback and wide receiver, your back.
Your game plan.
Let's put it this way. There's enough guys there to get people blocked, and people are coming free.
That ends up in safety right there. And listen, 6 times this happened.
And that's the issue, is that these aren't complex looks. These aren't exotic blitzes. These are just secondary players on the edge of the line of scrimmage. Every protection scheme should account for them.
Listen, the only thing that made this game close was Devin Hester, as they say on radio in Chicago. You are ridiculous. 89 yards for the score. It's his 13th either kick or punt return for a score. He ties Brian Mitchell for the NFL record. A punter's not going to, you're not going to, oh, see, that's why you shouldn't even try.
Hello.
It does make the returns better when you blow up the game.
That is fun. By the way, he did it in a third of the games that Brian Mitchell did it. Seahawks win 23-20. When we continue, well, this was a game the Texans absolutely had to find a way to win, and they did exactly that.
What if I told you he wasn't the greatest? That a country would fail to protect its greatest natural resource? That sometimes it is a matter of life and death? That no one can outrun the truth? What if I told you he's the only true Cubs fan? That you could heal all wounds with a fight song? That the man no one could stop tragically was? What if I told you running a marathon is easy? 30 stories, 30 filmmakers, 30 years. ESPN's critically acclaimed 30 for 30.
All this month on ESPN America.
I'm just thankful to be here, and thank God again. Thank you all. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Tim's got the ability to make the level of play of everyone else around him better.
You know, it got pretty emotional, and then running out, it was special. It's a memory that I'll always have.
In the 2010 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Tim Tebow.
Josh McDaniels went out and bought a $200 bottle of wine.
The Bronco coaching staff are excited about his leadership and his unique skill set.
You know, not everybody has to like you. Only one team has to like you.
Reggie Wayne has mastered every route in the Colts offense. The receiver's know-how, speed, and flair for the dramatic has made him Peyton Manning's favorite target.
Manning looks for the quick throw, throws to Reggie, touchdown! Reggie Wayne!
Wayne is a playmaker all over the field. catching passes across the middle and on deep routes. The 4-time Pro Bowler should continue to be a top weapon for Manning in 2010.
NFL Primetime, delivered by Papa John's.
Well, this was a great game between the Chiefs, Matt Castle and company. Listen, when Mike Vrabel, guys, lines up on offense as a tight end, he's going to get the ball.
Catch the
okay?
ball.
Listen, just so you know, that catch, 12 catches, all 12 for touchdowns for Mike Vrabel in his career. 2 of them in Super Bowls, 38 and 39.
That's good.
You may want to look to him when he goes into the game. The more conventional tight end here, Owen Daniels. Texans are down 31-21, just under 7 to play. That's a 24-yard gain. The very next play, I'm going to Owen Daniels until someone can cover him. Obviously, Vrabel, beauty of the tight end of Owen Daniels, not really close enough for that play. It's a gain of 27. Now, Arian Foster can do this.
Yes, he can. Up and over and in the end zone. And my.
It is really all about our fantasy at this point. Now, this is perhaps one of the most controversial plays all game long. Schaub to Johnson, 31-yard gain. Brandon Flowers says, yes, that's pass interference. But against the offense, not against the defense. Take another look here, Trent.
Yeah, I can understand the frustration by the Kansas City Chiefs, but what Andre Johnson does, he learned the subtle little forearm shove, which hardly ever gets called. It's when you extend the arm that it's going to get called on the offense.
I get that they don't call that on the offensive player. What exactly did Brandon Flowers do defensively?
Nothing. He did nothing wrong.
Thank you. Just checking. So then, 37 seconds to go, and Schaub to Andre Johnson, and the Texans take the lead. Johnson would finish with 8 catches, $138, and a nice move.
And this is very right. Look how hard this is. He's moving to his left, flips his hips, sees Andre Johnson work in the back of the end zone. That's great synergy between quarterback and receiver. I love that word.
Flowers still unhappy as the Chiefs have now lost 2 in a row after that 3-game winning streak to start. But guys, this was a game that the Houston Texans had to win. I mean, otherwise, if they had lost this game after that season-opening home game to start against Indianapolis, they would have lost their next 3 home games.
To me, wins like this speak more to what your team is about than when you beat teams, by 14 points. It shows character and resilience. And keep in mind, this is not the only time they've done this. They did this against the Washington Redskins. And follow that up, or go back to the beginning of the season when they beat the Colts and everybody kind of anointed them. They are here. Really, is these last 2 wins are the 2 wins against Washington and this one against Kansas City that speaks more to what this team is about than them beating the Indianapolis Colts at home.
I totally agree. It's so much different than the Houston Texans team of last year. Last year, this team found ways to lose. This year, they're finding ways to win. They scored touchdowns in their last 4 possessions. That is so difficult to do in the National Football League. I believe this team has great belief in itself, and I think that's what you're talking about, character. But you got to believe you're being coached the right way. You have the right people in place, and you can overcome any odds. I think the Texans believe that.
Well, listen, they go into their bye week on a major high right now, and then after that bye, they go to Indianapolis on a Monday night. And the Colts will be ready for that one after what Arian Foster and company did to them week 1 in Houston. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for your viewing pleasure, something we simply like to call westbound and down.
No longer protesting the segment.
Well, I was about to say, Chargers, Rams. Represent the Ed in St. Louis. Phillip Rivers. Chargers down 3-0. Now, keep your eye on Antonio Gates during this Ryan Matthews play because Niall Diggs falls right on his ankle. Oh, he would return, but only played 2 plays, and it doesn't look good right now for Antonio Gates. It does look good for Sam Bradford. Kid continues to progress, and how about this throw to Denario Alexander?
He's doing a great job. I look at his best plays so far this season. They're remarkable. Judge a young quarterback how well he can play at times.
That put him up 10-0, and that defense, not full of big names, but boy, Steve Spagnuolo, like he had with the Giants when he was their defensive coordinator, they're getting all over the quarterback.
This is not a one-time situation.
No.
They have dominated all year long. Aside from the Detroit game, they have been reckless and disruptive to everybody they have played.
Yeah, listen, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to scramble to, and James Hall brings him down from behind, and we're going to show it once. We're going to show it again because James Hall kept coming all game long, sacking Phillip Rivers again, 7 sacks on the day. And the Rams go on to win 17. The Chargers are 0-4 on the road, 2-0 at home. And for all the talk about the Cowboys' problems, the West Coast version is in San Diego. 0-4 on the road. Those 4 losses have come against the Chiefs, Seahawks, Raiders, and Rams, teams that last year were a combined 15-49. And then there's the curious case of the Bay Area professional football teams, the Oakland Raiders and the San Francisco 49ers.
Hurts my heart.
It does. Well, listen, the league's better when both these teams are relevant. There's no question. And you thought maybe with that big win they had over San Diego last week that the Raiders might spark. Alex Smith and company completely overthrows Josh Morgan there. The boos start. They're still trying to get that first win. Jed York thinks they can win the division. That's not a winning the division type play, and Mike Singletary lets him know it. 49ers would have to punt. Third quarter, it's 6-3. You didn't like this call at all.
It's horrible. Josh Morgan's right there in the flag, throws it away over his head.
Then they called an intentional grounding.
Yeah.
However, they follow that up with something like this. That's a great throw.
It's a great play. And the one thing about Alex Smith, I played with him. You can say what you want, but he is a mentally strong individual. That's why he's able to bounce back.
Raiders get their first win. Jed York thinks they're going to win the division. When we continue, we'll hand them out game balls, ladies and gentlemen. Who gets them and why? Stay with us.
NFL Primetime is delivered by
Hey, what's up? I'm Stuart Scott. Check out Monday Night Countdown all season long right here on ESPN America.
Come in, Dick Catrice. The Bears offense is in trouble.
Hey, it's Dick Catrice. There he is. Tracy? Tracy. It's Dick Catrice. Where is he?
Interrogation room A, Tracy.
You thought you could get away with it, didn't you?
Cutler's gonna get sacked again.
You know, I had my own ideas who could have been at fault Sunday night. The quarterback got sacked 10 times. When a quarterback goes down that many times, the first suspect...
I had my back to him the whole game. Plus, he's always on the ground. I never thought anything of it.
Then I started thinking, maybe it's the plays being called. Who's calling these things?
I don't know what the issue is. Kurt Warner never had these problems.
I'm not interested in the fall guy, and that's why I went back to the tape and I discovered the truth.
Trace, the Vikings just apprehended Randy Moss.
Hey, call me later, I'm busy. And I don't care what play is called. At some point, the quarterback has got to get rid of that football. He wasn't even aware of the pressure around him. He's got to take responsibility for his actions, or lack thereof. Jay, I'm going to take it easy on you. Get healthy. But I don't want to see you or Todd Collins back in Ditka Tracy's office next week.
is delivered by PapaJohns.com. Just a click of the mouse. Papa's in the house.
All right, Week 6 game balls. Let's hand them out, and we start with you, Trent Dilfer. Who's got it?
Go with E.J. Henderson, the middle linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. 2 interceptions, 9 tackles, and maybe the most instinctive play we've seen by a defender all season long, an interception on Romo.
It was terrific. Merrill, where are you going?
This unit has been terrific all year long. A lot of no names on this team, but this Ram defense has been disruptive. They've gotten after quarterbacks playing the run. As good a defense there is in football right now.
Well, that's really saying something. Congratulations to the Rams. I'm going to Tom Brady's BFF. Remember how upset Brady was when they traded away Deion Branch the first time? Well, they clearly have that chemistry still there. 9 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdown in his return. Okay, guys, for all of the games that we just saw, the big story this week and the entire time was the helmet-to-helmet hits. The NFL says they may talk about trying to suspend people to try and get that out of the game. Is that going to work?
Well, that's going to get their attention. But what you have to do is you got to get rid of the deliberate acts and the launching. If you do that, reintroduce the fundamentals of the game, and you enforce that, then that's going to happen. And keep in mind, we're talking about, what, 10 that happened this Sunday?
And with as big as the penalties are, suspensions being talked about, we got to use replay, implement replay to see really where these hits are initiated, whether it's in the body or in the head.
But that technology is available to us.
Yes,
now.
you can
And
use it
perhaps
all
that's
then.
the way to do it. Go back. Look, we break down the plays after every game. You can do it too in the league office to see who goes where. Thanks a lot.
Brought to you by FullTiltPoker.com.